You're tuned in to Lost Signal Radio. I'm your host, the Signal Keeper. Tonight's transmission is titled The Face in the Photo. We've got 3 stories sent in by listeners. Experiences they say are true. Let's begin. Story 1 is titled The Family Picture, and it's from Barbara. I was going through old photo albums at my parents' house when I found a picture from a family barbecue in the 90s. It wasn't just any barbecue. It was my uncle's wedding anniversary. My uncle was the only brother of my mom and aunties, so he had his way convincing them on what he wanted. This day happened to fall on the same day as my grandfather's birthday, so my uncle convinced them on a small gathering at the family house. Everyone looked lively back then, and the jokes my mom brings up with the pictures gives a clear imagination of that day. But in the back, near the fence, was a man I didn't recognize. I had never seen him in any of our old family pictures, nor met him in person. I had never seen him before in any picture. He wasn't smiling, wasn't posing, just staring directly at the camera with this blank and heavy expression. When I showed the picture to my mom, she looked puzzled. She remembered the day vividly and could recall things my uncle and aunties forgot because she bought her first car that morning, so it stood out in her memories. She swore there was no one like that at the barbecue. Everyone else I showed said the same thing. They told me it was just an empty corner of the yard where the lawnmower and housekeeping tools were kept. But I saw him as plain as day. Was it a reflection, or did someone actually sneak into the party without being noticed? I asked myself several questions, but there was no proper explanation. I could just ignore this, but I still felt uneasy with this topic. Later that night, just when I decided to sleep, I woke to the sound of the back door creak open. I grabbed the first thing I could, a pair of scissors. I then crept downstairs, slowly and trembling. In the kitchen light, I froze upon seeing what I saw. He was standing there, the same man from the picture I saw earlier. Same clothes, same stare, same blank expression. He didn't move, nor did he speak. He just fixed those eyes on me, like he was surprised seeing me. And then, as I blinked, the light turned off, I turned it back on. He was gone. The door was still locked, unscratched, no sign of tampering. I did not tell my mother about this encounter, since I felt she would make fun of it, or might automatically say I was sleepwalking, but remembering that encounter still gives me goosebumps. I never touched that photo album again. That's unsettling, Barbara. Stories like this reminds us of how thin the line between ordinary and strange can be. Let's move on to story 2. Story 2 is captioned The Workplace Picture, and it's from a sender who wants to remain anonymous. It was the annual Christmas drink-up get-together at my old job, a reputable news channel in my country. I won't mention the name to avoid any extra attention. That very year on a Friday night, we got together, had drinks, and ended up in some kind of a ridiculous dance competition. It was fun and exciting. We discovered those who had an unknown dancing talent. I can't tell if it was truly talent or if it was the alcohol dancing. After we were sweaty and done with the night, our ever-friendly HR head gathered us for a big office group photo. On Monday, our HR emailed it out. I gladly opened up my email because I now felt accomplished for being a part of the family at work. Upon downloading the image, I saw a tall man in a suit. He was standing right behind me with his hand resting on my shoulder. I showed it to my colleagues, and nobody else saw him. The strange thing is, I was the only one seeing him. My coworkers thought I was joking around, a joke they thought of as very dry and unnecessary. But I swear, I could feel the weight of that hand every time I looked at the picture. I tried to maintain my composure with a bit of caution, but things were not moving in my favor. The days after were hell. In meetings, I'd catch glimpses of a tall figure, the same one I saw, walking past the conference room window. I'd get up to check, but there was nothing. One night, working late, the office was so quiet you could hear the vents hum. Then I heard it, footsteps in the hall, slowly and measured, as if someone was clearly intruding with precision. There is an emergency alarm I could trigger to draw the attention of the security and eventually the cops, but I hesitated since I was frozen in fear, reflecting briefly of what my colleagues might say regarding me seeing things. I decided to brace myself for whatever I could be faced with and attack head-on. I turned, and in the reflection of the glass door, I saw him, right behind me, hand reaching for my shoulder again. I bolted down the hall, heart pounding. When I looked back, he was laughing, and it looked like something you'll see in movies. He shouted, saying, "Let me get to know you. You little one, you have great potential." I didn't stop running. I dashed through the next hallway, but what frightened me was where I was heading for was a dead end. I grabbed the fire extinguisher on the wall, then turned back to face whoever he was, bolted back, and there was nothing. Just empty air. All the chairs and boxes that I pushed down in my way when running a few seconds ago were all arranged perfectly, as if the place just got tidied up. No sign of anything off. Even my desk was super organized. I grabbed my keys fast and left the building. I couldn't tell anyone. I didn't want to be called crazy. I quit the job the following week. But to this day, when I scroll past that company's photo on LinkedIn, he's still there, still behind me. And sometimes, late at night, I feel that same hand pressing down on my shoulder. That one lingers, doesn't it? A simple night at work, turning into something else entirely. Now, our third and final story tonight. Story 3 is titled The Childhood Picture and is from Ronald in Oakland. One evening, my wife was showing me photos from her childhood. She had this old, faded picture of her with her school friends on a playground. I pointed to a girl in the corner, sitting alone on a swing, and asked who she was. My wife frowned. "What girl? I'm not ready for those kind of jokes." She swore there was nobody there, just an empty swing. But I saw her, clear as anything, pale face, dark hair covering one eye, staring straight at the camera. Later that night, as I was getting ready for bed, I heard it, the creak of a swing outside our window. We don't own a swing set. I started feeling cold and started trembling. When I pulled the curtain back, there she was, that same girl from the picture earlier, sitting on a wooden swing that hadn't been there before. She stopped, looked up, and smiled. I shut the curtain. I didn't sleep a minute that night. In the morning, the swing was gone. But under the tree, the dirt was pressed down, like it had been there for years. I still haven't told my wife. I kept quiet about it. But every night, before I close the curtains, I check, just in case. Uncomfortable to picture, but that's why we share these stories, to remind us of what is out there. That brings us to the end of tonight's transmission. You've been listening to Lost Signal Radio. If you've experienced something strange, something you can't explain, send it to us. Your story might be featured in a future transmission. Until the next time that the signal finds you, keep your radios on and don't trust every signal you hear in the dark.